Better? Okay. We're in Lent, and we're going to tell a story. And I brought with me a book, but it's not your regular book. This is the book. And when in Jesus' time, stories were told on scrolls, and this is a scroll. So my buddy over there, Mrs. Fitters, is going to hold one end of it. So we're going to tell the story across here. So I need you guys to sit down here and look that way. Okay, so you can see this as it unfolds. Kathy? Okay. All right. We're starting here, and this is the Easter story. And it's Jesus' life, the final week that he's on our earth, the way we know him. We're starting with Jerusalem. And today, people had gathered at the gates of Jerusalem to welcome Jesus and to say, Hosanna, my king is here. And they broke palm branches off and they waved the branches because there were no streamers or balloons. Anyway, we're going to slowly turn this along. And Jesus arrived in Jerusalem on a donkey. And these are the people here saying Hosanna and waving palms. Jesus then checked into the upper room and settled with his disciples. And that he decided first thing he would go to the temple. So when Jesus got to the temple, people were selling wares from the front steps of the temple. And he went, no, this is not a place to sell pottery and animals and whatnot. And Jesus chased the peddlers away and said, you cannot do this. And he said, you must sell your wares somewhere else. And he went in to pray. As the week went on, Jesus was preparing for Passover. And he and his disciples were going to have Passover together in the upper room. And this was a really special meal to have. And Jesus had been in touch with his Father in heaven, God, and Jesus knew what was coming up. So this became a very wonderful celebratory meal with his dear disciples. Also, the Last Supper also Passover is what we call the Last Supper as Christians. After supper, Jesus went to the garden with the disciples, and I suppose getting out of control here. And he went to pray and just have some quiet time. Earlier in the day, Judas was out walking around, and a soldier came to Judas, that's that soldier over there, and he said to Judas, who is this guy, Jesus? I've never seen him. How will I know him? And where will he be? And Judas said, later after Passover, he'll probably be in the garden. He said, well, how will I know which one of the men is in the garden? And Judas said, I will go over to him and give him a kiss. That's why you see that traditional kiss up there, to make you remember that Judas is the one that's going to give him a kiss. So the soldier gave Judas some coins, and everybody, pull tight, Kathy, thanks. And everybody went on their way. So sure enough, after dinner, Jesus went to the garden, and Judas went over and gave him a kiss, and the soldier realized that was Judas and took him to the king and said, you are to come with me to the king. Here's the king. And Jesus knew that this was going to be a difficult time for him, and loved us as God loves us more than anything in the world, and so was very willing to do what he knew was coming just for us. So the king decided, yes, there was back and forth between people, but the king decided, yes, Jesus was to die. Jesus has the cross, and pull tight, Kathy, and don't keep on rolling, just pull tight. So Jesus is dragging the cross through the streets, and the people have been calling him king. And the Roman king was really upset that somebody else should be called king. He said, "You want to be called king? I'll make you king." And he put a crown of thorns on Jesus' head, which hurt when it went on Jesus' head. So Jesus walked to the mountain where he was to be crucified, and this is Friday. It's a very, very quiet, sad day. And Jesus was put on the center cross, and two other men who were stealing things were put on crosses on either side of him. And Jesus' mother, Mary, was there, Mary Magdalene, and the disciples, and it was just an awful day. Jesus died, and Mary Magdalene went. Jesus was put in a tomb. A tomb is like a big cave, and Jesus was laid down in the cave, and the soldiers rolled a huge stone over the entrance of the cave. So Mary, Jesus' mother, and Mary Magdalene went to the tomb to see if they could bathe Jesus and be with him and pray with him. And they discovered that the tomb was closed off. There was no place for them to go. Okay. So they went home. And the following day, do you think this would be hard to read if you were by yourself and reading this book in small form? I think it would be. Fortunately, I have a buddy over there. The following day, the two Marys went back. They just wanted to be closer to Jesus. And lo and behold, when they got there, the stone had been moved, and what did they see but an angel? And the angel said, "Don't be afraid. Jesus is not here." And they thought, Jesus is not here. How is that possible? And they looked in, and Jesus wasn't there. And they ran back to tell some of the disciples. And, nobody ever heard of such a thing. They couldn't figure out how Jesus wouldn't be there. Later on, they saw Jesus, and Jesus was alive. And there he is, and he said, Kathy, you read the little blurb next to Jesus.
I died for all of you, you are all forgiven. If you believe in me, you will live forever.
And then, by that time, that lily down there represents Easter morning. And Easter morning is in 1 week, and we are really looking forward to Easter morning. And then Jesus lived on earth as we know it for 40 more days before God raised him up to live with him. That is the Easter story, so to say of him. So I want you just to think for a moment of a toy that you absolutely love. You all picture something that you absolutely love. Maybe when you were little, it might be a doll or a favorite truck, and you would ask to take it with you no matter where you went. As grown-ups, I wore my locket, and in my locket are pictures of our children, and I loved wearing it because it's close to my heart. I want you to know that Jesus died for all of you, every one of you, me, Mr. Porch, this is theirs, because God loves you so very much. And don't ever forget that, okay? So, we're in this week where we're celebrating Jesus' arrival to Jerusalem. We're waving palms, we're happy, and we're thinking about all these things that are going to take place during Holy Week. This is our final Holy Week, ending in Easter. It's great to see you. I wish you all a very happy Palm Sunday. And it's off you go to, oh, there he is. He's hiding. Do they go to Sunday school? Okay, off to Sunday school. Thank you, children.